Okay,
Here we are, and we are live.
we are live.
What is
Bantu
this?
TV.
Bantu TV. It's good afternoon. Good afternoon, world. Good morning. Good evening, and anything in between. Welcome to Bantu TV, and this is Kalinda Shinda right here in the Hoosier state of Indiana. My exact spot, it's the city of Indianapolis. Okay, so
Yeah.
we live up there, and look who showed up in his Sunday's best today. Over to you, my
Eh,
co-host Duke. Over to you.
yes, lero twale kwefika pachipale. Kefika ku church clothes.
Uh-huh.
Church clothes. If I remember, Kali, when we were growing up, you had certain clothes we could just wear on Sunday.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Those were the days. So yes, my name is Chanda Chilufia, and I'm broadcasting live from Ontario, Canada. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, from where, depending on where you are in the world. We welcome you to our podcast. Let's discuss issues. Let's, exchange ideas, and let's talk about the motherland and see if we can provide any insight or solutions or questions or just contributions. You can join us at any point, any time on this live podcast. Join us. We'll post your messages, send us your messages, share the link with all your friends that may be interested in joining us. Yeah. So, yes, let the show begin.
May the show begin. Indeed, may the show begin. Maybe before we do that, shall we let
Uh-huh.
our viewers know that, because we've been accused in the past,
Uh-huh.
may we let our viewers know that all opinions expressed are our very own. But
Mm.
uh, speaking for moi and my co host, our views mostly align with the New Dawn government. Okay, and we're not ashamed to say that. So,
Yes,
but
yes,
we
yes.
do welcome, opposing views from, from anybody, as long as you're Zambian or you are a
Hmm.
lover of Zambian or anything Zambian in between. Please, come on in, come on, come on, and let's share our views, and yeah. Let's keep the discussion going. That's what we do here every Sundays. At least we try. I mean, the aim
Hmm.
is to do an hour, but you never know.
Yes,
What else?
yes.
We broke our record last week. We were almost 3 hours. I was like, what's going on?
Oh,
My
man.
voice was almost gone.
People were joining in. It was interesting. Yes, people came in, started joining in at the last minute or maybe 30 minutes before the program ended. So people had a lot to say, and there was a lot that was happening last week. Just like this week again, there's a lot that had just happened. So who knows what's going to happen? But you know,
Who knows what's indeed is gonna happen? Who knows what's gonna happen? And
mm.
yes, I can see some people. Yes, I didn't do what I do with my hair. I'm all natural today. I didn't have time. Sometimes we don't have time, people. We don't have time. We just, we want to just
Uh,
come in and do what we need to do. All right. So let's go. This week's topic. Shall we start with the on a very somber note? Is that somber or on a very
eh?
serious note? Because here,
Why don't we introduce our guests?
oh yes, we have a new entrant, B Chiller. Welcome to Bantu TV. Please introduce yourself. Where are you joining us from this very wonderful Sunday today? Please come in. Me, B Chiller, are you there? Oh, maybe she's just listen, or he or she is just listening in. B Chiller is not. All right then. Let's move
Okay.
on. How about we introduce the man we were with uh
Mm.
last week? Who doesn't want us to show his face this week too? Ben, Mr. Danny, welcome back.
I'm I'll show my face one of these days.
Yeah.
I'm good. How are you?
Mwelati nabadani kuingira mofi mwa chitana kani.
Kuingira mofi ka?
Sometimes, you know these lazy men.
And you disappeared. You disappeared. Para nalimi evangelinga program hapa to exchange ama nani kani mwabutuka.
Something cropped up. I just had to go out and check. Someone was buzzing the bell on my door.
Oh, okay.
My office is not as smart as yours. That's why I don't want to be. Your office looks very organized. Mine
is my office looking organized?
Very, very.
Is my office looking organized, Mr. Danny?
Yes.
Oh, no, it's not. All right. B says she or he can't talk right now. We appreciate that. All right, then. Shall we go with today's topic?
Of course.
This lazy man still needs some more time to introduce himself. This lazy man down here, Mr. Danny.
Me? I introduced myself again?
No, but Danny, we know he did last week. He introduced himself, so we know. But unless...
for people who are joining for the first time who doesn't know this lazy man.
Okay, my name is Danny. Danny is my simpler name. My lazy name is Akakuluberwa. But people can't pronounce Akakuluberwa, so I go by my so-called English name. My last name is Liswaniso. Akakuluberwa Liswaniso, but I'm Danny Liswaniso for now.
Liswaniso.
Yes.
Do you see my face?
Yeah, I can see your face.
And my mouth. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Let's go. Let's start the topics, shall we?
Sure.
We start the topics today on a serious note. The president of the Republic of Zambia last week did declare this year's crop season a national disaster, and he did call for the international community to come in and help us with, food or anything that they can do to help us in these tough times, because half of the country's crop this season is going to fail because of a severe drought. As a result of the effects of El Nino. And of course, we did get various people commenting on the declaration. Others were all positive, but as we know, the other side, not so much. Let's start with you, Bachelor. What were your thoughts as you heard the president go there?
It was good and brave and honest for the president himself to declare that as a national disaster, because for him to reach that point of decision.
Hold that thought, Bachelofia. Let's just bring in the two people.
Okay.
Just join before you proceed. And these are regulars, of course.
Yes.
They are part of the couch. Let's start with and they're both, by the way, Matuvi United fans, but we have a soccer run at the end of the program. So let's start with Mr. Kalapa. Please go ahead and introduce yourself. Okay, Kalapa is scared. He's still nursing a heartache there. How about the deep thinker? Come in and introduce yourself, sir. Is this me? Or it's just anybody? Can you hear me? Anybody?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. I think
can hear you.
They are muted. I think they're in the show, but they're muted.
Okay.
Maybe they'll join in later on.
Who's that? Oh, somebody's driving. Hello.
Oh, Bakalapa. Yeah, okay, you can join in at any point. He said he's driving, so you join in when he reaches home.
All right, then you go ahead, Bachelor.
Okay, did you want to say something about Valentine Magamba? Are you there, Valentine? Or
He's still licking his wounds. Just proceed.
okay. All right. So, like I was saying earlier, it's for the president and the team and the government to reach that level to declare this situation as a national disaster. It's brave and honest at the same time, because this is a solution that he has no control over. Okay, some things will happen without the government anticipating that it's going to happen. Who knew that there was going to be this effect? We all planned. The president was out there saying, "Go out and farm." Encouraged everybody. People were out there. A lot of people actually farmed this year. A lot. Not even just like regular farmers, but just individuals. They were out there. The little land they have, they went in, they invested the money into farming because of the call that the president said earlier. Say, guys, we need to all participate in this situation. Let's all go out and farm. And everybody went there. But who knew that the rains were not going to be as we expected them? Nobody knew. So at that same point, we see now the opposition, as usual, instead of being a mature party. I mean, the Patriotic Front has been, in government for the last 10 years, even in the opposition. They should be, at this point, there should be a well-mature party with well-mature leaders. But what do we see from them? All we hear is they're blaming now the president. Like, why would you blame the president on things like this? This is a natural disaster, something that he does not have a hand in. I mean, it's God's, a choice to say, guys, who knows what lesson we're going to gain from this. So even in the kings in the Bible went through certain things like this, same thing with the president right now. And if Balungu wanted to be a man, I'm sorry to mention his name, but if he wanted to be a real statesman that's going to be respected across Africa, he could have said, look, my brother, can we sit down and try to work together and find solutions for this problem? But what do? They're just busy politicking and doing all sorts of things, I think at this point, this is all I can say for now. Let everybody else come in and chip in and but I don't know about Danny, what you think about the whole situation.
Yeah, you are right to say our president clearly stated that he wants to work with everybody. This is a national disaster, and invited everybody to join hands and not to politic. But the opposition, as usual, they just want to make there are no more drama out of everything. So yeah, and I like the fact that he really stated clear steps what the government are going to do. And so even if they are talking, I remember one of them, Mwambas, as usual, was asking questions which the president had clearly stated what he was going to do. They still come up with these questions. But yeah, I think the vision for our president is clear. We're going to do, it's not going to be easy, I know, because some money will have to be deviated from ongoing projects to cover this emergency. But if I were in opposition, I was just going to work with the president. I was going to work with the president to show maturity. Yeah.
Great, deep thinker. Come in, deep thinker. Introduce yourself, and then just come into the discussion right away. What's happening with the deep thinker today? All right.
Maybe he's having his breakfast or lunch.
Oh, he's using Zamtel internet.
Okay.
All right.
Just to add on the same point, not only that are we facing this challenge, but looking at the president himself, he's said, look, this is what we're going through, and this is what we're going to do. Already they have sat down as a cabinet, and already they found solutions. And already the international communities is coming forward to help Zambia. That's why when there's a situation like this, if you declare a national disaster, the international community will hear you and they'll say, let's go and help Zambia. Of course, there's money being pledged from all across the UK, the United States, everywhere, China. Everybody's pledging and want to help Zambia to come through this difficult time. And the president, I heard him, he was saying, look, the international community are coming in to help us. Let's also help ourselves, because charity begins at home. We cannot just sit back and start crying at all. This is what's happened. Let's also unite as Zambians and find solutions within the country and within ourselves. And that's the point I was saying. Look, the opposition, they should have said, look, I have an idea, or I have this, or what can we do, Mr. President, to help you? Because you're not only helping the president, you're helping the Zambians, and the Zambian people, they'll look at you with a positive eye next time to say, oh, when we were down, he came up and said, I want to work with the Zambian people, I want to work with the current government to find solutions to this particular problem, because it's not HH problem, it's not a UPND problem, it's a Zambian problem. And it's a natural disaster, meaning there's no control over it. It's nothing to do with the economy. There's nothing to do with what the president did. He didn't do anything. It just came about. These are issues that you don't plan for them to happen, but they happen. When you lose a family member, boom, all of a sudden, like, you don't plan for somebody to die in your family, but it just happens. So you have to find solutions and work with that. So yeah, that's what I want to do. I don't know, anybody else want to come in and chime
Yes,
in? And
actually a new entrant, let's bring in the man who missed last week is also becoming one of our regulars, Mr. Himwami Masha. And when I say that, I'm always reminded of Shikatende. Yes. Mr. Marcha, you want to come in? We're discussing the presidential declaration of this year's crop season as a national disaster. Please come in and introduce yourself, and then just jump into the discussion.
Yeah. Firstly, welcome me into Zambia now. I'm back home.
Oh,
nice. What time is it right now?
It's 21:18.
Oh, wow.
21:18. Firstly, the pronouncement by His Excellency is just a response to the current weather pattern, which are obtaining everywhere. When I was in UK from August last year, I was expecting to see a white Christmas. It never occurred. And the part where I was, it never occurred. But all along, it's been happening. So this weather pattern we've noticed in Zambia, where we've experienced a drought, this is just our share as Zambians. That's one thing we have to understand. It's not anyone's making. There has been heat waves in America and other parts of Europe. So Zambia we cannot just bypass this weather pattern. So for the president to come out like that, he's responding to the current trends of the weather. El Nino has been a topic that has been talked about, and we felt the impact. So his pronouncement that there is a national disaster is true, and I have seen. Ask my eyes; they'll tell you what they have seen in connection with the maize that is drying up in the fields. I'm a living witness to this program. I can 101% testify that maize that is just about to tassel has failed to become maize that we can wait for a harvest. The situation is bad. I'm a living witness. Other crops like sweet potatoes that were planted early, they are doing well. Sunflower is in some areas it's okay. And I won't talk about cotton, a cash crop where people can still get money to buy food, because I've not seen any cotton near where I stay. But there's basically a disaster. So for the president to come in like that, I commend him 101%. At least we told the world what our problem is, and we are open to aid from outside the country. But this aid again, God forbid, if we shall go GMO, maybe we won't die, but we can still survive. We won't be the first ones. We won't be the first ones to go GMO. And again, the goodwill that the current president has gotten from the time he came in government can help us get aid from the international community, because at least they have given him a clean bill of health in terms of the way he's governing the country. So chances are that we can get more aid in terms of food.
Great, great. I love that feedback. Yeah, and this is why I love this podcast, because people travel, and there's Mr. Marshall. He was in the UK just last week, and he's right. He's probably looking at my father's village in Shikatende right now, but that's a discussion for another day. Lady
Yes.
Sarah, she's here today. Lady Sarah, good afternoon or good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the podcast. We can't hear you. Did you unmute yourself?
You're muted.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. She's out. She's out. Jim Thinker, are you done crying?
Can you hear me?
Why is he crying?
Yes, finally. The tears are dried up. Now, join into the discussion. I know you've heard everything. Don't you worry
Tears
about
of-
the other team. You are still
Those are
We don't
tears of
cry.
joy. Are they
We don't
tears of
cry.
joy?
But Manchester now Valusa Lelo, so the Manchester United fans are crying.
Yes,
Are those,
so it's
we
okay.
are those
There is
tears of
brand.
joy?
Point of
Are they tears
correction,
of
we
joy?
don't cry. Point of correction, we don't cry. We bleed red. So let's get it right from the beginning. Let's get it right.
Oh, branding
All
going
right.
on. Go ahead with your input. The presidential declaration of the national disaster
I'm on
emanating
it.
from the El Nino effect.
I'm on the road again. That's why I'm having some issues with the connection. So, all right. So maybe Lunga
Oh,
know
we
the
lost,
head minion, and
we lost him.
all right.
He's
Lunga,
still
We
there.
lost him.
you
All
lost
right.
me.
Oh,
Who is it? Okay. So he'll be back. So anyway, let's just go into the details of what that declaration meant. So he said from the 2.1 million hectares. Is somebody talking?
I think
Okay.
it's about Valentine still wants to talk, I think.
Is he still here? I thought he's gone.
Tell
I'm
Valentine Sharp,
here.
I
If
can
you
see
can
his
hear
name.
me,
Oh,
I'm
Valentine, go
driving, so I
ahead.
don't. Can you hear me though?
Yes.
So Lunga and his minions, they need to research and find the meaning of national disaster. When you have a national disaster, that's when you put politics aside, because this issue pertains to the livelihood of people. This is the time to lay down politics and come to the table and brainstorm what we are going to do, because if he doesn't do that, if he's really a statesman, if he really still wants to be in politics, he need to realize that the same people that he is not trying to find a solution for is the same people he wants to rule. There will be nobody to rule if he doesn't come to the table and find solutions. This is the time to find alternative ways of feeding the nation. A nation that cannot feed itself is a nation that, you get embarrassed when you can't feed yourselves. So this is not the time to play politics. Lungu and your minions, head minion Lungu, you need to come to the table. If you got enough sense, I think you need to be examined in the head. That man, something is not right. I yield.
Oh well. Thanks, Deep Thinker, for that. Well, let me just go through the numbers. Okay, so what that entails. So we had 2.2 million hectares of crop planted this season, and according to scientific findings, only 1.1 million hectares of crop will survive. And so they have no hope of actually getting anything out of this season, because the rain pattern will continue to add salt to the injury in Zambia this month in March. And so the affected provinces are Southern Province, Lusaka, some parts of Northwestern, some parts of Central, I believe. The Northern Bloc seems to be intact. Eastern is also affected. So basically, half of the country have no hope in terms of crop yields this season. And so, with that being said, the president, like Mr. Chilufya indicated, they already start into cabinet and reviewed what sort of national plans they need to put in place to counter this dry spell. And one of the things that I was cracking up as he was, talking last Tuesday. They're putting in measures where now, ministers can't even travel outside for any conferences as much as they wanted in the past. So he says maybe once a month, and then there will be no Mr. Villas going in any travel. Yeah, so that's one of the many, and of course, they will have to realign some resources from other areas, and then plow back into the project to get food for the country. Also, he as commander-in-chief commanded the Zambia Army, Zambia National Service, the Prisons Commission. Who else am I missing? Right, so help me out of those.
Yeah.
So basically, all our defense forces will be encouraged or will be ordered to grow, through irrigation, of course.
Irrigation,
yeah, crop.
So he touched on that. He said that, look, we have solutions that we need to implement, and that's irrigation and water harvesting. So what that simply means that when we have enough rain, we should have dams in strategic areas where we can collect that rainwater and store it. In case we have situations like this, you can easily irrigate our fields and our lands. So that's one thing. So irrigation, water farming or harvesting, those are the big issues. And as well as looking at different types of maize, like the early yielding crop seed, that I think it's already in the market, it's already in Zambia, but they want to reintroduce it so that at least when farmers plant their maize within a short period of time, it matures and you're able to get your corn and harvest within a short period of time. And it will be a whole year round kind of thing, not only just to wait until it's rainy season. That's why we start planting maize. Winter maize project that the late Mwanawasa started, I think it's another brilliant idea. Let's not just wait until it rains. Let's even plant when even if it's not raining. Let's plant and irrigate, and in that way, if you feel like we are reaching these situations, at least we have a backup on the type of crop and maize that we farmed during the winter. That we store in and everything. So, secondly, also people are talking about the northern circuit, because in the northern circuit it rains all year round. So, and in the northern circuit, most people there, they just grow cassava, and it's fishing is the main thing. Like if you ever been to the northern part, Luapula province, fishing is that's the thing that they do. And if it's growing anything, maize at a low level, but cassava is, it's what they like to eat there. So even cassava itself, we need to start thinking about cassava really. Ubunga watute. Let's start thinking about that. Let's start commercializing it, and that's producing it at a larger scale, because cassava doesn't even need the rain. Really, to be honest, it doesn't need much. It doesn't need much rain. It doesn't need, like, even if in this situation, cassava is still growing. Even if there's drought, cassava will still grow. So we need to commercialize it. Let's start producing it at a larger scale and have it as a substitute for people who don't want to buy ubunga, which is costing people between 200, whatever it is now. You can simply go buy a cassava meal, and you can still eat in shima out of cassava and eat your food, and you'll be good. So that's my point, and I hope the government can look into that one. Make cassava as.
All right, Patricia, hold that thought. Let's bring in Mr. Macha, who is actually on the ground, to let us know exactly. I hope he's had a chance to, to decompress and ask, people on the ground what they think about all these measures that the government are putting in place. Mr. Macha, you want to come in and just give us your thoughts on that?
Yes, I'm coming in with what I saw again when I just arrived.
Mm-hmm.
Under CDF, in most areas, there's even a deliberate measure of putting up dams where water that just flows after the rains will be harvested.
Okay.
Those dams will support irrigation.
Mm-hmm.
And on the ground, there's never been a time that farmers planted maize and other crops like they did this year. There's been very, very intensive agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
We were headed for a bumper harvest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that things have become bad. Otherwise, this was a year for everyone to harvest any crop that they could have planted, because they did their homework.
Great.
Yes.
Great. All right. Thank you for that. The only nosy man on the panel, and at least he is a vet doctor, so he may have ideas. Do you want to come in and chime in to see if you have any thoughts to inject to either the government or the people, or on how best to deal with this situation? Mr. Danny Akakulu. Okay, let's leave it there. Mr. Aniswani, so please come in. Okay, he ran away. Deep thinker, are you still here? I think it's me. I can't hear people. Lady Sarah, do you want to come in? You've been too quiet there for just a minute. ready?
Mr. Macha is here.
All right, Mr. Macha, please continue.
Yeah, maybe we go to the next one. Maybe people have expressed their views on the first topic.
This is the biggest story.
Can I say something?
Yes,
Yeah,
that is so
yes.
fantastic. Yes.
That's what I wanted to hear, that people should say that they have something to say. It was a deliberate
Can I
move
say
for me to
something?
say.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm not going to be on camera right now, but I'll be soon. I want to say something. First of all, I want to say thank you to our president, our able, president that we have. We have a man in State House. We are proud of him, and we can easily say we are Zambians because of the type of person that we have in State House. Secondly, I want to tell the people of Zambia that mwira chitafe kwatirimbi muli pachivansa muleteya kankunwere whatever, this is very serious. Can I have that one who is like there's some noise somewhere?
All right. I think I hear people. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is very serious, where the president, gets on and then tells us what is happening. And then people like Venalungu, Venagiveni, you start opening your mouth, you don't need to start talking like that. This is beyond politics. It's not time to start politicking, And
Tell them.
And Zambia. What type of thinking is that you have? You start saying, oh, that's why pena. Are you in your rightful mind for you to start talking like that? Drought. Is it the first time that you Zambians are experiencing drought? Drought. You are confused. And they are making noise. They are taking this as propaganda because they are nafirwa. Is it the fault of HH? Just pray to God that God gives us the rains, okay? And then the measures that the president has put in place, let's follow what he's doing. Sabotage too. Don't do that. Okay? I wanted to tell the people of Zambia,
maybe I can add something. Can I add something?
Go ahead.
I'm thinking outside the box, and you can imagine I'm thinking of this government toilet, which was used by two governments, the previous one, the Greens, and the current red ones. The previous ones were using cardboards, plastics, stones, and inkonti, inkonti amapopweya. In a flushable toilet. They were using those things to wipe their things, you see. It's blocked. They got to block it. But the current ones now are using tissue, which easily dissolves. And things are moving, things are flowing. The previous ones, the system just got blocked. And when it got blocked, there's a stench. And the best they can do is to keep quiet and praise the current government who are using tissue, which easily dissolves and makes the sewerage system to flow nicely. It is also my daughter alaunka Valentine kologoga my daughter allow fileya pinto, and we are slowly getting rid of those things. They block the toilets. You can't use the incontinent flushable toilet. A cat box. Can a cat box dissolve in water? They should keep quiet when they have seen someone using a toilet, someone who is civilized. You use something that is meant for a toilet, tissue, which easily dissolves. And right now, the tissue that easily dissolves is being used by the man who is getting Zambia to the right fora, to the place where we are getting our place, where we can be noticed. Previously, it was just bad. And God forbid, if the Greens were still to be in power now, and this drought, they were in charge of it and resources came their way. For example, yellow maize or whatever food. Tell me how many UPND would queue to get that maize or to get that food. Would there be any UPND queuing for the food? They would just kill you on the line. But now there's this president who says we have a disaster. Obviously, the international community is going to donate. The Greens are going to join the queue without any bloodshed. The seventh president means well for Zambia. I yield.
Ah, wonderful.
Nice admission.
On. Some sense now. Moving on.
Before we go, I always refer to this book that I have here. Okay, so this is China. Okay, during the time that China was going through a tough time. You know, their chairman Mao said, look, each and every person needs to participate. And every individual started participating, started farming. And in China, rice is their main staple food. We all know that. Just like Zambia, maize and wunga that's our main staple food. Right now, China has over 7,000 varieties of rice, believe it or not. So we also need to start thinking, you know, on those kind of levels. We need to start, you know, if the different types of maize, yellow maize, whatever, let's have it on the market. Let's not just concentrate on, you know, the white maize and stuff like that. Na yellow maize, na ena, bunga. In fact, kuno US, when I go to buy in Shima, I buy the yellow one because the white one is hard to find. And it's as healthy as the white one, but it's cheaper. So that's just one thing I wanted to add. And yeah, let's go to the next topic, guys.
Can I just add one more thing? I don't know why nobody was hearing me before.
Yes, I had called on you, Losy woman.
I was talking to myself.
Okay, go ahead. Ooh.
Yeah, regarding the varieties of maize, we have a little bit of a conflict between our own local maize that Mount Makuru has been developing over more than 30 years. Mount Makuru has Zambian specific bred maize varieties, which can mature early and all that type of thing. The problem with Mount Makuru varieties that we have in Zambia, yes, they can mature within 60 or so days, but the problem is they are not as advanced as these other varieties from developed countries in terms of resistance to pests and stuff like, and the yield as well. It's a little bit low. Okay. So farmers are looking at, okay, I can plant this variety from Mount Makuru. It will mature within 60 days, but look how many bags of maize I'm going to get out of per hectare. So it's disadvantaging our own varieties. We have our own varieties. Actually, that was Kaunda initiative of establishing Mount Makuru Research Institute. So we have our own varieties, but we still have a long way to go to improve the yield per hectare for our varieties that we have, and also for pest resistance. If you have our local breeds, these insects and all that type of thing, they find it very easy to attack our maize when they're still young and all that. And this one other thing that people should understand when they talk about GM foods. We here in the developed countries, we're eating almost everything is genetically modified. And I don't understand why we are still, scared of saying this plant or this maize is genetically modified. As a scientist myself, we modify the genes to take advantage of pests and diseases in that crop. It has nothing to do with humans. Genes do not cross species in terms of harming a species. So if you get a gene for a plant, it will not harm a human genome or gene. It just doesn't happen. So this notion of saying it's GM foods, we should educate our people. All of us.
Tell them, Doc. Tell them, Doc.
Everything we are eating here is genetically modified. We are not dead. Some of us have been here for more than 20, 25 years. I'm not dead. I've been eating genetically modified shima. As my friend has said here, we eat yellow maize. All that yellow maize we eat here is genetically modified to yield high, to give us high yields, as well as to be resistant to many viral and bacterial diseases these crops can. So that's the main aim of modifying the genes in these crops. I know we haven't done enough research to see the effect it will have in humans, but as I know, my genes will not be affected by a plant gene. They're so different that there's no way a plant gene can come and modify my gene after eating it. So it can't happen. All right. So that's the thing. And also, lastly, I want to encourage my fellow Zambians as well to adapt eating other things other than Nshima. I know Nshima is what we know better. I think with the help of China, India, and all these other countries, I think we'll see donations of rice mainly, okay, to our country. So people should adapt to eating rice, okay? After all, in most countries, rice is far, far, far much cheaper than any other staple food. So when the government receives these bags of rice or whatever, we should just adapt for a year or so. Let's eat rice. I know there's going to be a lot of rice that will be donated to our country. We should be able to adapt to that. That's the only thing I can say.
Great. At this point, let me go ahead and give a shout out to Loretto Jacobs, who has joined us via YouTube. Hey, girl. All right. Now, moving on along. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. So this week, we had the police arrested Raphael Savimbi Nakachinda. And my goodness, all types of pandemonium broke out within the Uka camp. Now let me just lay down the little background here. So Mr. Nakachinda last year, if my memory serves me not right, he went on air, on social media. He was everywhere. We had by-elections somewhere in northern Omuchinga province. And so he alleged that the ECZ had pre-marked ballot papers to advantage the UPND to win those by-elections. And so the Electoral Commission, of course, headed by State Council Wangala Zalomes, as chair, called him to their offices to validate his claims. Since last year, Mr. Nakachinda literally just avoided and just never showed up. And so the ECZ then, did communicate with the police, and then which resulted in his arrest this past week. I think it was Monday or Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. And he was charged with, of course, statutory whatever, charge for his deeds there. And then the next day, I think that was a Wednesday, we saw Emmanuel Mwamba and his goons show up at Kawata Police, vowing not to leave the police station until they saw Nakachinda, despite the police telling them otherwise. And once they resisted, you know what the Zambian police are good at? They showed up with a battalion and ran off Emmanuel with a spray of live gas. What do you call that, Rachel? What?
Tear gas.
Tear gas. So they were tear gassed. Okay. So the people that said they were not leaving, Oh, they ran faster than Usain Bolt. I've never seen anybody run like that. Anyway, on the back of that, now we saw the man who wants to head in his mind is a president of UCA. He already sees himself on the ballot in 2026. He's already seeing, or he's already testing State House. So he came out. I guess he was trying to give solidarity to Nakachinda and Mwamba, and then he went into this rant that I've never heard of anything coming out of a presidential mouth. Okay. And after that, he went and had this press conference at his house where he literally was short of saying, "Hey, HH, watch out. If you continue with this behavior, there'll be a coup in this country." That was a lot. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on all that happened in the Oka and Nakachinda's arrest? Of course, Mwamba was also caught up. He got arrested, but he's out. He's released. So, well, let's start with the man who is having network issues. He's using, of course, Zamtel. Mr. Deep Thinker, I know you have a lot to say.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah. Just
Okay.
to your house.
I was driving from one place to another, so so for me, this is a demonstration that there is a high level of democracy in Zambia, because there is due process. Lungu can even talk about an uprising, and he's still out in the streets. Mm-hmm. So if the PF guys or opposition do not appreciate anything, they need to come out and appreciate the fact that they're still in the streets instead of in jail or Mkoveko or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now, UPND, I think we become a little more lenient than we need to be, but that's just me. That's just me, because Lungu is trying his luck and he's crossing the lines. And if we are not careful, he's going to overcross that line, and it's going to be, Zambia might be unmanageable. So Lungu needs to be checked. I am just wondering why the regional presidents, the regional leaders are not intervening in this issue, because Malema has said something. So I think at this point, Lungu needs some intervention.
All right. There goes the Deep Thinker. Mr. Marcher, there's the man who is on the ground that we so much respect. I need you to come in on this, because you are looking at all this drama unfolding.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
In Tonga, I would say Lungu is the Nguhi Mulwanya Tuga. Valentine. Nguhi Mulwanya Tuga. Hey, Masega Wadala. Nguhi Mulwanya Tuga. He's a guy that wants to cause trouble where there's no trouble. He's an alarmist in his statements. You don't go around publicly telling people that, telling the world that there will be an uprising against a legitimately elected government. Is that not tantamount to treason?
Yeah.
You don't come out like that. A head of state has got to have certain etiquette, certain standard behavior, which makes him stand above a father of the nation. A nation is a group of tribes that is closely related. Now this nation is being cut by a knife, and this knife, unfortunately, is being held by a former head of state, a father of the nation. No. Lungu shouldn't push his luck. Lungu should be, in fact, be thankful that he's enjoyed more than some of the people that helped to liberate Zambia out of the mess that he left. He has to be very, very thankful. If possible, he just has to be quiet and watch from the terraces. To come out like there will be an uprising. What has he seen?
Oh, well.
Wow.
He
Yeah.
was speaking through the lenses of Jamison. That's all I'm going to say on that. Mr. Danny, you want to come in on that?
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you, Mr. Danny.
Yes. My only thing that I agree with my brother that Lungu should be somehow be cautioned. And I'm glad, I don't know whether you guys know that on Tuesday, that's going to be tabled in Parliament. They wanted to put it last week, but last week's agenda in Parliament was full. So they've postponed it to Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, they're going to talk about it. Let's hear what our parliamentarians are going to say about that statement. The other thing I want to say is the suggestion that the regional leaders should come in and talk about what Lungu is. I think at the moment it's still mild. I don't think the regional body can come in and intervene, so that's too early. But I think we're capable of dealing with Lungu ourselves as it is now. It's not yet a runaway cat, as we say in my field. So yeah, he just needs to be told that he's no longer a leader. I mean, it's no longer the president. We have a president, and the rule of law applies. You can't tell the president that you might not finish your term. People will rise, and you might not finish your term before 2026. You'll be out of that power. That's a serious statement to make. So yeah, he needs to be cautioned, and I hope the parliamentarians will come up with the appropriate step that the government should take. But I know it's going to be tabled on Tuesday in Parliament.
Great.
Good.
Mr. Chilufo.
Yeah, and I agree with everybody. I mean, those alarming statements coming from a former head of state, it's really worrisome. I mean, people will start thinking like, what does he know that we don't know? What is he planning in the background? Is he planning a coup? What did he really mean? And we need to look at it this way. He's a former military man. And people like that, the way they always think to get things, if they can't get it their way, they'll use force. So who knows what he's doing, what he's thinking, what kind of secret meetings he's having. So, in fact, Walungu, he should be ashamed of himself. If you had to ask me, he should be ashamed of himself. He should be the last person to be, trying to alarm the nation or the country. He's enjoyed the freedom that HH never enjoyed. HH was the most persecuted, pursued, victimized when he was in the opposition. He did not immediately became president. He said, look, I'm not going to come after ECL for revenge. But don't take his kindness for weakness, Mr. Lungu. Don't take HH's kindness for weakness. Because you might end up in a place where it's very dark and very cold and lonely in the cells. So we don't want a former head of state to go through that, But look at what can we do now? You're forcing the government, you're forcing HH's hand with all these alarming statements. You're forcing their hand. That's all I can say.
Can I come in with
Madam Moderator?
Can I come in some thoughts?
Just hold on. Mr. Marsha, deep thinker, hold on just a second. Hold your thoughts. Let me bring our former PS who was here last week. I'm pretty sure he has something to say. Mr. Chanda Kazia, welcome to the podcast this week. And right now we are discussing the Imingala tours in Uka. Please join us.
Wow. Thank you very much. I joined in quite late. I saw the notice quite late. So I'm just listening in and wow. Stuff have happened in Zambia and indeed, yes, there has been quite a lot that I saw before I left Zambia to come to Canada. And whilst I've been in Canada here with the connections that I still have, and the updates, of course, I get in terms of what is going on. And there are certain things that I have probably very practical experience in terms of how politicians have behaved around themselves. You know, like I said last time, having been in all governments and having seen all transitions and having seen how political parties and the leadership change and how they come in power. When they come the first day, maybe you have a minister who comes in your office the first day, and how they start to change, how power quickly gets to them, how they start to ignore small things that matter for the people, and how it changes. And for what is going on right now in Uka and what people are seeing in terms of PF, vis-a-vis socialists, vis-a-vis any one of the political parties that have come up, this is, for me, not a very new phenomenon. I have seen this happen before. But you see, usually it is how the incumbent, the government in power, reacts that sets the tone for how they would run and they see themselves going for the future. I have just heard briefly, I don't know my colleague who was talking about it, but in other forums that I've discussed, especially where you see how President HH came into power, the things that happened to him when he was in opposition, and now he is president, and how at times people would attack him, and how people would manipulate his information and do that, is basically what our politicians have been specialized in for many years, is to not put together when there is a problem, is each one trying to unseat the friend. And that is what you see right now. It is a question that even if President H had the purest of intentions, he's been judged on his past statements. And people, even when he's moved a little bit, they go back and speak about him. For me, I have always advised, and I think Dan, who is here, could tell you, I've said there's a lot of power in silence, and just work and let the actions and what you're doing positive starts to show. The moment that people believe to the presidents and you go after them, you give them a lot of legitimacy. And that is how Zambians behave usually. They would tickle the lion's tail, and when the lion turns and holds them, pins them down, then the entire village comes to rescue that person who actually poked the lion by the tails. And when I say the lion, I mean when people poke the presidency. And really, the president himself, at times is not even aware that his people have reacted to a person who is even attacking him. He comes to learn later, and by the time he's offering, decisions to say, what are you doing? Can you let that guy off? They've gone so much in terms of what they've done. So the Mingalato thing is always done to plan for such kind of events, as you see people struggle for power. So for now, until I hear what others have to say.
I have a question. I have a question for you, but I'll hold it on for right now. Let me bring in. I know the following have so much to say. I can even see Deep Thinker's lips and nostrils moving. So let's go with Deep Thinker and then Mr. Marsha, and then Lady Sarah will come in. In that order.
My concern, and that's why I brought up the issue of regional leaders. My concern is we saw in South Africa when the former president dares the sitting president, and we had Zuma arrested and almost the whole city burnt down. We don't need to wait for that moment when we know that the opposition is purposely trying to get a reaction. And if the issue is going to parliament, somebody said, and if Ilungu's immunity is lifted and he's arrested, he has some die-hard supporters that are willing to do anything. HH has also some die-hard supporters that will do whatever they have to do. And then the country is going to be ungovernable just because these two people that know what goes on in the presidency are not sitting together to discuss some issues to prevent bloodshed. For me, Lungu should be a statesman because he knows how decisions are made in State House. He needs to either retire or be relevant in the Zambian community by helping so that there's no bloodshed. South Africa is a case, just last year or the year before. I yield.
Great, Mr. Mash.
I teach civic education. Chanda Kazia knows that. Welcome, Chanda. How are you?
I'm
Now-
okay. Thank you very much.
My classmate, years back, David Livingstone Teachers College.
Jolo.
Now, listen to this. The simple civic education I teach concerns like in judicial processes. There's what is called as mens rea and actus rea. Just the mind and what it conceptualizes amounts to some criminal activities. To just say things like Zambians were prize, he won't finish his term. His mind is thinking. That's criminal. Lungu has to know that mens rea is a basis on which an offense can be called as one. Just the mind thinking. If he can guard his tongue, unfortunately for our former president, his tongue is his greatest. That's the greatest danger that he has in his body, which can put his whole body on fire. Let him tame his tongue. Some of the pronouncement he makes, they are tantamount to breaking the law. Mens rea, not actus. He hasn't yet acted, but mens rea, just the guilty mind. I yield.
Lady Sarah.
Hello, Mama.
Hello, you come in. We're talking the Mingalatos in Ukanal. Come in, please.
Okay. Though I went off, but I think you are talking about the former president, the way he's talking about the country and the president. Mumbwe pakulila kulioko ashintilishe. Like the speaker was just spoken before I came in. He's saying that the mind, when somebody's talking, there's something, This Lungu, to open his mouth, which the other speaker is saying is the greatest enemy that he has on his body. He knows what he's talking about. Some of these things, so that's why you find that people like Venamushala, something like that happens. And then you start saying, oh, Alelanda. Even if most of the people, I'm sorry to say this, I know that some people, it's very sensitive where suicidal is concerned. There are certainly, there's a percentage of many people that have committed that. You know, now they've shown some signs. So the Zambian people, the Zambian government, now in signs and symptoms of this man called Edgar Chagwalungu, you know, how can somebody, honestly, a former president, come and say, hey, Vanilanda, the former president, you go? Anyway, what kind of a person are you? Eh? And then ama minions bako bali abena mwamba, abena given, mabaya kunganda kumwakwe, yo ama-fruits baleta mbotuma fruits chile chimu tibaleta mbachita chama-fruits ini 70 kwacha ama-fruits. A president, you are sowing ama-fruits there kushita pali 70 kwacha imo fruit. Why can't you have a farm? Walile mpia ishingi. You don't even have a farm. Ulege alo fruit chimbi chochi shaba kuzambi. It's because you want to be wapamwamba whatever. What kind of a person are you? So, like somebody has already said, by Mr. Hakainde Ichilema, he should open his eyes, he should listen, and then act, because that is treason. Him, Mr. Hakainde Ichilema himself, he went to Mongo for Kuomboka ceremony, and then what happened? Just because attention, because that Muntu Edgar was passing, 147 days in prison. At treason. Number nalela that Zambians will rise, Zambians will do what HH has to step down before 2026. That is treason itself. I don't know how that immunity can be removed. Otherwise, if I had powers of removing Mr. Edgar Chagwa's immunity, I would have done it a long time before. Thank you.
Wow.
Mr.
Yeah.
Batufi, I know your nose was twitching, even I could see your
Can-
Let me just iron out what Lady Sarah said here about the immunity of the president. Apa tulelanda apa. Balungu can be arrested at any point in time. Because so he can be arrested at any point, any time, because now he resigned, okay, for being a former head of state, and he came back in politics. So anything that is going to do from now going forward, he can easily be arrested and be liable for that. He's not going to enjoy that immunity that he had when he was a former head of state. Remember, he has come back into politics. So according to the Constitution itself, when somebody comes back into politics, then you give up that privilege of a former head of state. Okay, so those privileges of the immunity and everything for being prosecuted, they are no longer there at this point. I'm telling you, maybe Walungu Katushinga his law background is a little bit questionable. He doesn't understand what he's doing, and like we said, he's loud mouth. That's his greatest enemy. And if I can borrow, what Shimbakam with his words, balesa mwe baikala kumulu uyu lungu mwamufunya kui because the way he behaves, it leaves much to be desired. Like, why would you be going through all this? Me, if I was him, I would just be relaxing, playing with my grandchildren at the farm, because he loves fish, farming, and all that stuff. That's what I should be doing. Why try to involve yourself in all these, politics at this stage in your life? I mean, how much more do you want? You've already been a president. You ruled Zambia for many, many years. What else do you want? What else do you want?
Bachanda, listen.
Eh.
Let's not even concentrate too much on Lungu, Valemu won't show you. He's a puppet on the string, like Bob Marley says, You're going to be treated as a puppet on the string. The main culprits here, the main people that are fighting Mr. Hakainde Ichilema is Mwambandi Deka group, They are just using this man now because he doesn't think properly. He's going to be used like that. And our focus now will be like, oh, lungu, 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 lungu. These people are bad people. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is the president of Zambia. They are not happy. You know, they want to put another mumpoto, like I said in one of the audios. Now there's nothing to you know, now they want to come back and steal more. So these people, they are not good. They want to as a puppet and then see where they will go.
Great submissions there. Let me pick back on my my earlier thoughts here. I have a question for our former PS, you know, in the PF government, who is with us, Mr. Chandakazia. We appreciate your content and your comments and your thoughts and everything else that you bring in here. But let me pick back on what you said earlier about the incumbent, that the powers are with the incumbent either to ignore or just to let the people who are fighting him right now just do whatever they want to do. Basically, that's how I took it. So I'm gonna go back to how we got here. Okay. Mr. Raphael Nakachinda. Okay. He alleged the ECZ had pre-marked ballot papers in a by-election last year. Okay. He was summoned by ECZ. He never showed up. They repeatedly wrote to him. He ignored those calls to validate his claims with them, until to a point where they involved the police, and the police acted. So, as a former PS in the PF government, is this now a mantra that if any of you, or let me watch myself. If any PF leaders are, ordered to appear before a statutory body for claims that they make and then they ignore, so then we should just let them do as they want. Let them, live in their own dream of reality. Let them leave. Let's just leave them, okay, and abide by their own laws. When you have a government now that says, look, we are going to run this government on the rule of law. My question here, Mr. P.S. Kazir, should the police not have acted after ECZ asked them to in this matter, and then we came to where we are now, that the former president, of course, walked into his own doo-doo with his own comments about an uprising. Your comments, sir.
Okay. Wow. Thank you very much. I've heard what my other colleagues have said. I don't know how much everyone else has been very much acquainted to our last 10 years of our political systems, how it has happened. Now, the police must not at any time fail to do their job based on for instance, myself, if I'm summoned to the police, like I think one time things have happened like that in the past, I must be able to go to police and explain myself. And there is a procedure of how me, who has been summoned, must conduct myself. And there is also a procedure on the people that have summoned me must conduct themselves, and also how you handle the information that you have against any other person. What you are seeing right now is what, from, I think, maybe I beg to be corrected by some of my colleagues here, but this is what the UPND in opposition were trying to cure the accessibilities of government and the accessibilities of ignoring the rule of law, stopping the accessibilities of the rule of law, whereby people ignore what their obligations towards the law are. It used to happen, and I must tell you, where certain people, because of maybe their position, they are summoned, they never show up at police, and the police will do nothing. The things that you see is a reaction because in certain other instances, similar reports have been given against the people that are in government. Complaints to say this person has committed this crime. And then there's nothing that has happened to that person earlier. And you see the failure to act on that person who is in the government, who has been reported, starts to create the system of anarchy that, okay, I can also do it. If that guy did that and he was never held accountable, and I do the same statement, why should I be held accountable? And this starts to bring in the issues of the supporters starting to gang up and say, yes, there's unfairness. Now, one of the things that you should understand, and I think one of the other colleagues talked about ECA being a statesman and what he should avoid. I agree with you. Edgar Lungu must be a statesman, but has he been given from inception of the opportunity to be a statesman? And the question is that when we say he wants to be a statesman, how does one attain the level of statesmanship? Because there are certain things that happen in campaigns. There are certain things that happen when now we're in government. And when I said that if the president does not ignore certain things that will be said, it will be bound by our rules, the constitutions, and everything else. I am a trained prosecutor myself, by the way. One of the most difficult things is that when arresting is so easy, you can throw a crime against anybody and arrest. Look at the conversations currently going on, where Action Sejan was picked, where this was picked, others people from the UPND, when they raised their voices, they were picked, taken into custody. For what? For just merely saying this we don't like. We cannot agree with this kind of leadership that you are putting in place, Edgar Lungu and your friends. Meeting the government, I say, they were arrested, put in prison. Look at what has happened. What has gone in now? Now there is huge cost because now compensations are outflowing. Do we want the same things to understand to be done? People in Zambian politics right now in Zambia, people are careless in terms of the language, in terms of what. Why? Because our rules are weak. They are weak to the point that you will not secure a conviction. And there's a lot of loopholes that people use when they want to digress from what the actual intent is. I like my friend who says, this is real. He's thinking that, oh, yes, his thinking can be criminal. But can you prove that his thinking is criminal? When they start hard evidence, because, in criminal matters in Zambia, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. So when a person says something, he might be thinking criminal, but he has not committed it. So if you rush to get him and lock him up, then you have a problem because you have no evidence of the thinking. You can't have evidence over the thinking. So some of these things, unless we start to change the rules, we start to change the laws, we change them and then we start to move ahead. But to remain where we are, the police will have difficulty. Look at it, they arrested Nakachinda, number one. How did the police also arrest Nakachinda? And instead of just keeping him where they arrested him, charge him. And if people want to come and see him, let them see him. Because in line with if the rules apply that they should not see him, they should not see him, including Edgar Lungu. If Edgar Lungu the rules don't apply to see him, send him away. There's nothing wrong. But now you arrest somebody, then when people are coming, then you transpose them in the night to another place where people are not going. How does that affect other people? How does that affect our rule of law? So these are some of the things that you have to see. We have a deep entrenched political system in Zambia that does not put together. It is pulling apart because of the weaknesses in certain decisions and certain legal framework that we have. I am not a proponent of someone who breaks a law that he must be left loose. No, including me. And I'll give you an example because maybe it's a time to also bring this to you colleagues and share with you in an open manner. Look at what happened. Me, when I was permanent secretary, I wrote every year we were doing we do quarterly labor force surveys. And the Ministry of Labor did not have the vehicles, the number of vehicles that we wanted to do because we had enhanced the survey of the labor force. So at the time that we were supposed to do the labor force, I wrote to workers' compensation to say, can you help us, including NAPSA, help us with the vehicles to carry out the labor force survey in 10 provinces. That system delayed, but workers' compensation now came to a point whereby now they released the vehicles, they had bought new vehicles, which should have actually been used, and they wanted to be clear. They said, yes, we can help you do the labor force survey, but you have to help the workers' compensation clear the vehicles. So I wrote the control of government for the control of government transport and secretary to cabinet, and the vehicles were cleared through that system. Now, when the vehicles were cleared, it was now deep into the campaign. The campaign was just heating up. The vehicles, before you could get the vehicles, they said, no, guys, we can't get any vehicle now because if we send these vehicles into the labor force survey, there will be a perception that these vehicles are being used for political campaign, and I don't want to see that happen. Okay, so what do? We said, okay, we'll keep these vehicles without using them until after the election. That's when they can be used. Cabinet office makes a decision. Without the ministry, it is me who wrote the letter. And the vehicles were released through the control of government transport. They never came to my office. They only came 2 vehicles, which were parked at my office. PF loses the elections. The labor force survey has not been done, but the vehicles have been used by cabinet. And what do I get? Now I moved out of Zambia. I'm here in Canada. Then I receive a WhatsApp call, a WhatsApp message that, oh, you should report at ACC, Anti-Corruption Commission yourself, report yourself. Then I say, oh, then who should I see? There was no message about who I should see. What happened next? I called and said, okay, I'm in Canada. I can have, if there's a statement that needs to be given, I can give in greater detail and it can be recorded. It's something that I would consent to recording, but to come in there, it would be too expensive for me to come. The person who was on the other side refused to identify themselves. And when they refused, I had to say, no, from the prosecution and the criminal procedure that I know, there's no someone that goes without a name of a person who I must see. When I pushed so hard, I said, you're an impositor because you are an imposition. You are actually, what do I say? You are imitating the SEC. You're not one of us. So, and that's when he gave me the name. I said, okay, what statements can I give so that I clear my name? I do this. And they said, oh, the vehicles were being used in campaign. One of the vehicles, I can tell you all the people that were here, was taken from my office, and that one where they was driving it. Because we needed to save the government. The vehicles were being used even at inauguration. Then people know that stuff, but then they want to come and harass you in that manner. So you will see certain things happen because of people not understanding procedure and also people ignoring certain trends that are starting to happen. I like it when you say that, okay, we have seen danger. When we have seen danger that probably ECO has spoken something that people do not like, how do you interrogate what he has said? Now, if you go after ECO like you're going after any other Zambian like me, permanent secretary or minister or anything, you are bound to have problems. Because, like you said, the support base, which is in Zambia, which we will see that, oh, he is being victimized, he is being what, they will forget that this is what he did. Because when UPND was coming into power, this is what they needed to stop. The stop of, oh, this one says this, I'm going to do this. Because that is what was done. In Mulunga, for instance, what happened when he tried to overtake, they were overtaking neck and neck between the president and the opposition leader. That shouldn't happen. You understand? That shouldn't happen. Should we allow that? Oh, that should happen now. This time that the President HH is in office, someone must deliberately ignore his power. Someone must deliberately undermine him. I am not a supporter of that. I'm a supporter that the president, the current president, requires the right support for him to succeed. And if we do not provide the right support, no matter what we do, he will not succeed, because he is one person who requires the bigger group of people to put their heads together to support him. But then how are we canvassing this bigger group to support the presidency? Not really because it is HH. No, it is the presidency that we support. I had the chance to, like I said last time, to serve in HH's government. For 3 weeks, I was permanent secretary. I went to pick the minister. I am the one who briefed the minister, created the briefing to say, okay, this is how you succeed in this ministry. And here are my handover notes to you. And you see, these are some of the things that we must strengthen. We must strengthen institutions of governance. I knew for a fact that when President HH was coming into power, the expectation is clear. There are so many people that he has suffered with for 23 years. I'm not one of them. I was just a public servant who was there. So if I'm removed, I shouldn't feel bad about being removed by him, because it is an expectation that I've seen over 25 years of service. So I should be able to support him, because I know, and it is entrenched in me, that when I'm at this level of permanent secretary, you serve at his pleasure. And there are people that are looking out to take that position. When they take this position, I shouldn't now go after the president. No, because he's just performing his civic duties. So this is how I see this matter, that when these Mingalatos are happening, they must be treated with care. If we sweep them, we use the sweeping powers and get that, we will go to the same, back to the same position of where people will start fighting. And then when we start to fight as Zambians amongst ourselves, the people that benefit are foreigners. Trust me for that. The people that benefit are foreigners. They will come in peacekeeping. They will come into, a commission of inquiries leading, they will come into research and everything else. That is what it is.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff. This is very
Mr. Mwaranda.
Mr. PS, I'm playing a violin right here. All right. So,
Ahora bashina mwalite mwasana ma politics.
yeah, we love, we love, we love it. We love it.
Sister
We
Chanda,
love
I
it.
have a question for the PS.
Emquire.
Yeah. I don't know if I heard him correctly, and I want him to explain where he says that people want Edgar Lungu to be statesman. He asked a question like, has he been given the reception to be the statesman? What type of reception does Lungu need? I don't know if that's what I heard. If that's what I heard, this is the question. What type of reception?
All right, good. But PS,
I can answer that, Emquire.
but PS, answer that in 45 seconds.
Okay. When I said that he needs to be given as a statesman, I meant from the time that he left power, resigned from being president, resigned from being the leader of Patriotic Front. To what extent did the government start to? Because there is a former President's Act. To what extent was it operationalized? The former President's Act was not operationalized on Edgar Lungu when he left power. That is the problem that you see today.
Awe bachanda na imwe.
No.
Let me I disagree with you.
I asked this question.
I disagree with you.
Let me give examples if you can allow.
I asked this question. And that is statesman, whatever. Let's look at the MMD when Kaunda left. Okay, Kaunda behaved well. Okay, Kaunda behaved well, and even that statesman came. He said, "Yeah, the way you are behaving." But our Lungu, he doesn't behave as a statesman. He's a bitter man. Each time that he's talking, each time he's talking, him is always bringing in politics. Him is always talking negative of the other person. So what reception do you expect Mr. Hakainde Hichilema to give to Lungu to be a statesman? Lungu valiona wilafye chibachanda. There's no need of talking about reception for Mr. Lungu to be a statesman. Okay, if he needed to be a statesman, he would have behaved well. Thank you.
If I'm before you come in.
All right. all right. Come on, let's all coming down. One person
Okay.
at a time. One person at a time.
Yeah.
All right. We only have 26 minutes to go. So we have other topics to talk about. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
this issue about Lungu will never be exhausted. So we'll revisit another day. So let's push on to the next topic. Right. Next up, Lucia, introduce the next topic.
Oh, YB, you're the one who has the notes there.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's talk about
Yeah.
the fuel reduction.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the fuel reduction and why has fuel suddenly reduced? What are the causes? What are the benefits? All those good things. We need to look in and dive into that. I mean, it can't just be overnight. Fuel just reduces for no reason. There should be a big reason behind it. So, if you can help me, digest this issue or explain it more, if there's somebody on the panel that has access to information that we don't have, why fuel has to reduce all of a sudden? That's my big question.
I would say the one of the reasons could be the depreciation of the dollar against the kwacha. The price of oil, petrol on the market also went down this past month. So I would say, those benefits have been passed to the price at the pump in Zambia.
Okay.
Usually does that.
Yeah, go in. Say what you want to say.
That's it.
Oh, no. There's somebody who was saying something.
All right. How about Deep Thinker? Oh, he's fighting with his Airtel.
No. I think you said it. I mean, the kwacha is gaining value, so it doesn't make sense to keep the price of oil up. I mean, I'm not an economist, but I think that's the reason why.
Great.
Yeah.
Mr. Macha, the man who is in Zambia right now, you have more information than we do. You want to come in? You've been too quiet, my brother. Okay, did we lose him? All right. How about we move on to the good doctor, Dr. Danny? All right, we can't hear him. We move on to, Mr. Jigonka. How are you, sir? Welcome. All right, nobody's talking.
No, I'm
Hello.
here. Hi. Hey,
Hi.
Hello.
I'm very well, thank you.
All right,
Hello.
you want?
Hello. I'm here. I
Hello.
don't know. I've been jumped. I've been in the queue. May I say something before we move on?
All right, Mr. Maja, you come in.
Yeah, the appreciation of the kwacha versus the dollar should translate into some meaningful savings for every Zambian. Just this morning, I was going through some items on Facebook, social media, where the PS is even questioning multi-choice, our local DSTV multi-choice Zambia. They have increased their subscription. Instead of reducing, they have increased. You wonder what mathematics they're using. How do they just arrive at increasing prices when the kwacha on which they rely on so much, I mean the dollar on which they rely so much for their content and the provision of whatever services they do is based on, but them have decided to increase. We need something that holds water here. We need a relief. Every time there's a gain, we just have to get that. But how they arrive at their new prices effective 1st April, no, it's not good enough. I yield. Hello.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You can come in.
We can hear you.
Yes,
Yeah, we can
I
hear you.
yield. I yield.
Okay.
I was saying about the multi-choice price increment. When the kwacha is appreciating, we don't need that. We need a reduction because the dollar on which they rely on so much is losing some value. So we
Yeah.
need those low hanging fruits.
Of
The
course.
low
Of course.
hanging fruits. We
Of
need
course.
them. Much as they could be very small, 3 kwacha,
Mm.
it's a lot of money.
Mm.
We need to know that at least the economy is ticking.
Mm.
But they make us feel as if, oh, nothing is happening.
Yeah.
We lose hope.
Yeah, I think multi-choice has been a problem in the past. I think we all know that they've taken advantage of the Zambian market. They know that they provide good service, but at the end of the day, we need to put our foot down because the government itself has shares in the company, and they need to also make sure that the local it trickles down to the local, to the Zambian, to the ordinary people that are pay for those subscriptions. They shouldn't be like, why should it be so expensive? It actually Zambian should be given a premium in terms of the price. We should be getting paying the lowest, rate that we can get because they rely on our satellite. So they rely on our satellite to transmit those signals and all those programs. But we are being double charged. Why? We need to ask those questions. Yeah. So I don't know if Kalapa, you're ready to come in and discuss. You've been too quiet. Kalapa, are you there? Kalapa seems not to be there. Then we can go Kuliba Danny, or who else wants to come in and talk? I mean, the floor is open now because we only have a few minutes.
Wachanda bari kwisa.
Seponji.
Hey, London
Yeah, I
program.
think this is a very good. It has taken a lot of hard work, I think, to stabilize that and getting that reduction. If you see, in the last months, it has been like fluctuating. Why it's going up, and the reduction has been good, and also the quantum of reduction is good. I think if it is maintained and sustained in that way, and we show a downward trend, things would start to react. So maybe it's a question of people not being sure if it is going to hold. But I think in the overall, the reduction is really good. And like what Lando covered, these are some of the things that happen when the kwacha appreciates, the cost at international market goes a little bit down. So it's just a question of also our private sector reacting to some of these things to reduce the cost of few things. But otherwise, my general impression is it's a good gesture, and I think we must just find ways of sustaining it.
So sorry, I stepped out. Multitasking.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What was the last question? The last question that was being asked.
We're talking about the fuel reduction.
Oh,
And what's the reason why the price has gone down? Is it artificial? Is it real? A real thing that's happening, or what? What's your 2 cents on that one?
oh, to me, what we're doing as a government to follow the international trends on the fuel prices is a good thing because it's real. It's not pretense. It's the only thing is that it really has a, of course, a biting effect to the citizens because right now we are buying fuel. I was just comparing the prices of fuel here in Canada and Zambia. We are almost buying fuel at the same price. So it's something that we are very genuine in our action as a government. So why have the prices gone down? The confidence, international confidence of what things are coming up. For example, the mining sector and all that type of thing. So the kwacha is gaining recognition, confidence on the international market. So it's not artificial; it's real. What remains to be demonstrated is whether these millions of dollars they have been promising us are going to come into the economy. If they're not going to come, then you're going to see again the rise in the fuel prices because the confidence is going to be eroded again.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think because of the international confidence and as well as the investment, heavy investment that's actually happening now in the mining sector, and of course we were seeing a lot of dollars coming in, so that strengthens our kwacha. If we have a lot of dollars circulating in the economy, in the central bank, at least we are starting seeing a little bit of change in terms of the rate to the dollar ratio. So yeah, that's one important point. I would like to pass on to the gentleman on my left. I can't even see exactly, but as I see there, if you want to come in and tap in, I think it's been quiet.
Is that me? Well,
Yes.
yes. Okay. So I think overall, just looking at the trends that have been going on, economically in Zambia, um, we are even lucky to have been seeing quick changes when things change, especially in the foreign sectors area. Um, if it's I think because you have a transparent government. If in any case, if you have to say, this dollar can go up and down. Sometimes it can go up down all the way, and things will still remain the same. And then all of a sudden, we see a drastic change, maybe just a little bit of a bump into this and that. But what we're seeing now is because you have a transparent government, and they usually are showing you changing way things like fuel and other things according to what you see. Like you see the changes in the dollar sector in a week, the trends are going down. The government is going to act on the fuel, is going to act on the pricing of certain things and commodities. But overall, I believe, there may be artificial, but they may be permanent, but it's just a gradual, small process changes. I don't think it's anything alarming to be surprised about fuel changes and stuff like that, because in the end, I think our government, what they're doing, even if they may subsidize some of this stuff, is because they're trying to make sure that the common man has a benefit of some kind. And if you'd come back and talk about multi-choice and what they do, multi-choice is it's a league on its own. I think, and they're not the only ones that actually have all these changes and that affect the common people. I'm a farmer myself, and there's a place called livestock, livestock, right by the showgrounds. A lot of these changes, when you see them changing, like the dollar rates and things are changing, their prices continue to stay the same. Sometimes they even go higher. I don't even know how or who determines that. So when you hear about multi-choice going up and down, I think it seems like, at some point, some people just get away by trying to do whatever they can to go up on the price, and nobody can question it, or go down on the price according to the market changes, because they just don't believe if anything's going to change based on that. So we get affected. Most of us who actually deal with the livestock services over there at the showgrounds for our farms, we get affected a lot into all these things. And so I'm lucky to have a dollar account there, so like they use my dollars to kind of supply some stuff to my farm. But other than that, when you use cash, it's just up and down. The fluctuations are just here and there. The swings are just painful to watch. You see the prices that were like 200 kwacha today, the next day they're 700 kwacha. In the PF government, was even worse. But at least at least these guys, at least our government now has maintained that things are not changing so drastically and just going out of control. So that's my take on that. I think we are lucky to see these fluctuations here and there. I think it's because of the fact that we have a transparent government. So we should just embrace it and watch the trends and ride the flow as they go. That's my take.
Sorry, you didn't tell us what's your name again. I don't think we introduced you when you came in.
My name is Chikonka. I'm Dr. Chikonka. I live here in Indianapolis, so I usually come in late. Usually in these sessions, many times it's interesting. Okay, yeah. So Bakalinda, she's my cousin, matter of fact. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So what konka mwite mwato bisa late kanshi?
It's not. Many times it's because you're doing something else. I could be on call at work and here and there, but today I'm free. So
Okay.
so it kind of works out like that. But sometimes if I'm on call at work, I just want to listen in here and there.
Yes.
It's very, very productive conversations that you guys have here.
Fantastic.
I don't even know why most people don't participate. It's an amazing feedback in a back and forth situation and conversations that are live instead of through text messaging.
Of course.
Yeah.
We appreciate your presence and contribution.
Yeah.
Of course, just like everybody else that's on the podcast today. I don't know if you want to go, but Vadan Kadeva, Wakamba Valentine, you want to come in and chime in? Are you available? Okay, looks like it's not a.
Yes, I am. Are we still talking about the fuel thing?
No, I mean, of course, the fuel thing is one thing that we were discussing. I don't know if you tapped into that.
Yes, I did. I just have confidence in the government that they will do right by the people. When they catch against value, you expect things to change. So that was my take on that one.
Yeah. Okay. That's fantastic. So I think now we got. I'm just gonna throw everything on the floor. If there's any specific item that somebody wants to discuss or talk about, you can talk about it now before we close. And I think we only have 10 minutes. 10 minutes before we close. So I think we'll start with but Danny. Danny, you can go in and say your last statements. And then we go down the road, Bakalapa, Machina, Valentine, Vachikonka, and then I'll close the show. But Danny, are you there? Hello. I think Danny is doing something else. Bakalapa, are you there? Okay, Machina Vachanda. Yeah, people are online, but nobody wants to talk.
I can close. I can say my piece if you want.
Nobody wants to talk. Well,
Can you hear me?
All right.
think hello?
For me, here's my take. We only have one Zambia, and we need some mature politics that is going to help the people, other than playing the politics of politicians. Because the whole purpose of politics is to help people, make people's lives better. So if we can't do that, then we're failing the people as politicians. So that's just very confusing to me, that things like the drought can be politicized instead of putting our heads together and say, well, you didn't cause this. This is just, we just didn't have rain. So let's put our heads together and see how our people are going to be fed, how our people are going to get to their next meal. I mean, some things we just need to be mature and protect our Zambia.
Hello. I've been talking to myself, and everybody's saying they can't hear me. What's going on with this?
You're probably muted.
You are muted, probably.
I was talking. I was talking to myself. Anyway.
All right, you come in now.
Conclusion. Are we concluding now?
No, we can't conclude before I do my EPO rant, but you go ahead.
Yeah. My observation, I always tell Chanda, there are two Chandas here. The Chanda PS, I always talk to him about the need to have people that are ready to serve the people. We in Zambia, most of our politicians, the Nkachindas, the Sambos, and all these guys, they went in politics to enrich themselves. That's a fact. And I think as long as we have these type of politicians in our country, we are going nowhere. We need people that are ready to serve the people. That means they have their life sorted already, and they're going there just to make Zambia better. And that's what I like about American politics. I tell Chanda sometimes, Kazia, let me differentiate between the Chandas. I tell Kazia all the time, I said, this is the difference between American politicians and the rest of the world's politicians. Is because in America, you can't go into politics if your life is not sorted out in the first place. You first have to have a base, you are settled, you have your own money, you own everything, and then you can go into politics. So it's in Zambia, that's not the case. So we have a president now who is there to serve us. His life was already sorted. He doesn't need a salary. He's not getting a salary. He's not doing anything. He's saving our people. I wish we had more people like him, other than more people like the Rosambos. So that's the thing we need in our country. Let's look for leaders that are ready to help us and not people that are there to enrich themselves. You can't have a former police officer 5 years down the line is a billionaire and a millionaire in US dollars. How? It's not possible. Okay, so these are things that are going to be affecting us. If we are not going to tackle them or talk about them and just say, oh, it's politics as usual, politics, we are not going nowhere. We need people that are ready to serve us. And we need to educate our voters about that. That's my only thing I can see in our country. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. I was working out some kinks. That's why I disappeared. I'm back now. Anyway, I think there's one serious issue that we need to talk about before I go to my EPL round. And the issue is on the boy who cried wolf. Yeah, I mean, for me, I look at him as he's a man child. I mean, I know a lot of people brush it off. And the man I want to talk about is no other than Chilufya Tayali, who I think this past week has just unhinged. And so just before we go, we went on air. He came on Facebook and said, hey, I'm being attacked. There are people breaking my gate, blah, 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 blah. And then he's showing us, I'm not in Zambia, I'm in South Africa, hold your horses. He's been alleging that the UPND rigged the elections in 2021. And then to prove what he's, talking about, he shows these receipts that anybody can print those, even my son can, make a PowerPoint like that. So for me, really, I mean, it's people like Chilufya Tayali. For me, I like to talk about him because it takes me to the day when we lost Samasama, and he's a main catalyst to those events, together with Madame Nawakwi, where they were alleging HH, stole this farm from the Felunas in Kalomo, and they reported him to the police, and HH, in opposition, wasn't going to go to the police station by himself. He had an army behind him. And, in those days, the PF, I'm sorry, Mr. PF, but for us that were looking in from the outside, this is what we saw.
Yeah.
Okay, we saw police firing live shots at people, and on that day, 2 people lost their lives. Families went without their breadwinners, fathers, sons, and brothers, and the like. And the list is long. I mean, no matter how we want, I know PF are saying, no, we should just forget what happened in the past. But we can't move on without, looking at what happened in the past so we can move on. So now here he is again. This week he's just been all over the place, and I think yes, there's freedom of speech. People can speak, but where my freedom starts or ends, somebody
That's right.
else's freedom starts. I mean, it's a fact.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So now
And
tomorrow, when he's arrested, we are going to say, well, the incumbent should look the other ways when we have people that are alleging wild things against government institutions, and they don't want to answer for those things that they allege. Um, so having said that, I think I know we really are running out of time, but I know a lot of us have been tuning into Chukatari's rant this past week. What do you make of it? And when police arrest him, um, really is that a good riddance or it's an infringement on his rights? People, help me understand Chukatari.
Can I come
Let's
in?
start with
Yeah.
yes. Please come in.
Can I come in?
Yes.
Chilufya Tayari has unfinished business with most Zambians. Remember that case where he dramatized a scene where people came to attack him at home? They first manhandled his garden boy, a Land Cruiser. Are you with me here? You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about.
Yes.
That business is unfinished. As if that's not enough, he still dares to go ahead with what he's saying now. I think there's need for some people to lose their freedom. Just an individual like Tayali losing his freedom of ranting. It's necessary for Zambia's peace, They create unnecessary tension and uneasiness amongst the people. You don't behave like that. Tayali is not as bigger than Zambia. He's just an individual. Yes, he has constitutional rights, but he has overstepped them, and to some extent, he has lost it. You can't have a man of his age talking as if he's a preschool boy. No. He needs his day in court, serious court. And you see, he was even manhandled the other time by the same. A day in court when his suit was torn in pieces. He can't remember that. His tires for a car were punctured. What does he think about the Zambians? What does he take Zambians for? A ride?
Maybe I can come in.
Yeah, come in, sir.
You see, there is something that I noted in Zambia while I was there, and it still happens. You see, when people have no substance to give the Zambian people, they go online and start a rant. And when they start a rant, it is all in the issues to do with getting attention. I have told Danny this before, that you see, the more these useless people that have nothing in the head to offer start to get the front page headlines, that is how they love it. That is how you find that they become our next leaders. Look at how this at the ground and the Chama America, I never listened to those. But look at how much their influence is. They are even hitting headlines. These are grade fours. Grade 4. Now, they've started hitting headlines. No, nothing in terms of look at the substance that is coming from this group in terms of what things can be done, how certain things can be structured. This will never hit headlines. So this is what you see. It is the people that have no substance. They start something so that when they are arrested, and then the entire media and everyone else starts to pull and see them as heroes. The next time they'll stand as a council and MP and they are voted. That is the caliber of the JJ Bandas that you see in where? In Parliament. So what you see is a question of people that do not have anything to offer, that if they were ignored or no one paid attention to them, and if they are to be held accountable, let them be sued so that they maybe not the government getting into there, maybe by the people they mentioned. Because you see, one of the difficult things from what I saw, having worked in government, even at PS, and a government institution taking on a citizen to take a prosecution, it is way difficult, I'm telling you. it is very difficult because the government is seen in the eyes of law to be too big that they can oppress this guy. But if they are isolated with certain people that they speak about and they are taken on as individuals and they start losing out, they will keep quiet. The point is that they are trying to get the relevance. And I can assure you on this team here, on this group, that if these useless people that have nothing in their heads become hitting headlines, we are doomed as a country, because these are the people who become leaders the next day. And then we start to wonder, how did this person become a leader in our country? How? You see, then it baffles and it goes beyond, especially you colleagues that have lived so much in the diaspora. You start to wonder. That is why I tell that now you see Bowman coming as minister. And then you ask, what happened? How did Bowman become minister? It is because of the things that relevance which starts to happen at this point in time. We are not getting to the right people to start the conversation. That is why you see Chilufya, he goes on there like my sister is saying here, you can print that from anyone. And he has been very good at that. When he's losing relevance, his numbers on social media are pulling down. He used to give 2,000, 3,000. Now he comes to 50. What does he do? He has to create something, some confusion somewhere, so that we all react to him. Me, I don't take him seriously. I do not want even to comment on his page. I don't want to watch him because I can be frustrated. So I decide to get away from him and not even to have any conversation. Because the moment you have a conversation, you are giving him legitimacy, and that's what he's looking for. So what you see there, going online and throwing things at that, is the same way like CR1. Look at CR1. What relevance can CR1 do to the current government right now? What influence does he have? What he claims he has influence. And people are listening to him. So it is a relevance that we must cut. The government needs to cut the relevance of these people that are trying to do something for their own promotion. When you arrest people, when they arrest him, he becomes a champion. Because now everyone is looking to say that. Meanwhile, government has achieved, maybe I tell Danny this other times. Meanwhile, government has achieved a milestone. Probably a $2 billion project is being launched. It is cut from the mainstream media. People don't see, they start looking at Chilufya. So for me, these are some of the things that requires to be refocused. That's my submission.
Great. Jeff Thinker, you want to join in on that?
The last speaker, I think he touched on a lot of things. These people like Tayalis, they're just like us, when Manchester loses.
Oh my
They
goodness.
rant. They start ranting.
Don't go there.
Oh my God. Let's not go there. Let's not go there, Jeff Thinker. You guys are still, rebranding, please.
No, let me finish. Let me finish what I'm trying to say.
Good one.
From the beginning, I've been saying I don't pay attention to PF and the minions in there. I don't pay attention with what they're saying. Given Lubinda, I know him. We used to play soccer together at Kenishas in Chikun. I know him. There's no substance that is going to come from Given Lubinda. Okay, so people that hang around Given Lubinda, Chishimba Kambwiri, there's nothing that is going to. We're just wasting our breath even talking about them. What we need.
You have left out Gunyu Masaga.
Yes. So what we definitely need. What we definitely need is so
Raphael Savimbi Nakashin.
So Nagachinda too, yeah, Nagachinda is the worst. So what I'm saying here is that an empty tin makes the most noise. So let them make the noise. The more we pay attention to them, the more they think they're relevant. Leave them alone. Let them do their thing.
They even start from their hairstyle. Valentine, they start from their hairstyle. Gunyu Masaga. How do you keep such a hairstyle? Come on.
All right, Mr. Johnny Doc, you want to come in?
Yes. Chilufya Tayali, I didn't follow that. I didn't realize that is in South Africa at the moment. But yes,
Mhm.
it, such people, you just ignore them. They are not relevant in the political landscape. They just want to get some attention, and the more attention we give to them, the more relevant they feel. So, yeah, we don't have to respond to such nonsense. Yeah, that's it.
All right,
Madam,
Mr. Carter, the
Madam,
man who has.
Madam Moderator, just one comment,
Yes,
just one
Valentine.
comment, please.
Mm-hmm.
What we need in UPND is a communication system that can respond to those to that noise, because at a lower level, because if we don't, some Zambians buy into the things that they say. We don't need the president to react to everything that they say. What we
And
need are
that
the.
was my point.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
I submit.
Oh, all right. Back to look here before I go to my EPL runs that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Talking of Rachilofia Tayali is just becoming a nuisance on social media. One day he says this, the other day he says that, tomorrow he says, like, it's somebody who flips, at any point, any given time. He at one point he said, "No, I've stopped politics now. I'm going to concentrate on my family." Next thing you hear, he starts talking about your family's time and all that stuff. Before it was even long, he was now talking about against the government. Before you know, he's saying he wants to go back to work with Eddie Galungu, and then he was on without shame, going online claiming to said he had big, huge meetings with the top executives of the UPND, that they were trying to work with him, without shame. You're saying, "Oh no, I've been in offices that people have never been before." Yeah, if you talk about the biggest people in the UPND, I was with them. I was talking to them. I want to mention their names. Now, why would somebody in the UPND want to work with Chirufya Tayari? Why? Like, I don't understand. Like, what is he going to bring to the table? Or what relevance does he have? Or influence does he have?
Just the
For
ranting, just
huh?
the ranting like Arsenal.
The people of Zambia have seen through Tayari already. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to read somebody. Chirufya Tayari, those are people that just make noise. Nobody would want to sacrifice, the government position to go and say, "Oh, Chirufya Tayari, can you work with us?" No, why? We don't need him. We do not need Chirufya Tayari. So there's no point. If that ever happened, I'll be surprised to say that a top official of the UPND government sat down with Chirufya Tayari to discuss how he can join UPND or how he can work with us. I will be surprised, to be honest, because I don't see him, contributing anything or bringing anything to the table or changing any landscape or changing anything in the UPND or influencing anybody to say, "Oh, I'm going to bring 1,000,000 people to the UPND party." You know what I mean? His party is struggling. It's a one-man show. So why would we need a one-man show party to work with, for instance? So I don't know. That baffles me. Baffled me. I was surprised.
All right. I mean, I understand where you guys are coming from, but for me, really, I mean, the man he needs a way to sustain his lifestyle to begin with. I mean, I don't know what he does, but I've
That's
never seen
true.
that man hold a job to begin with.
That's true.
Yeah, so he needs a way to sustain that young wife of his he went to get in Ethiopia. He has to find a way to feed her and the offspring that he's bringing on this world, to begin with. And then also, I mean, I know you guys, I'm just want to say politics as usual, but it's the dealings of these people, the machinations that they go to do, that we lose lives like Sanasama. I mean, that man's
But,
life that really touched my heart,
yeah. By
And
the way, I employed
Joker,
Sama. I'm the one who employed
oh,
him as a
oh,
prosecutor.
you did a good job. I
Yeah.
just hope that, his family will sue the government so they can get some money out of his debt because he's got kids I mean, the kids have to be raised and taken to school. So it's the machinations that I'm talking about that comes as a result of their deeds that needs to be taken care of because we can't continue to lose such great minds like Samantha. Those little boys, the little pupils that died in, what is that? Kamala Challenger, that young man who died who was shot by police because of such machination by these useless people. Okay, so I usually I get emotional, but I don't want to because there's so many people that have lost because of stupidity as a result of these people. So next up, I would like to speak on my favorite subject of the day on any given day. Virtues, yeah, where are you? Mwambo Kuberana because of the rantings of one deep thinker. After,
No.
I
No, no,
understand
no.
him. I
No, I'm not.
understand him. I
I'm not.
today
I'm
I'm
not
very
worried
nice.
about deep thinker because ninji shwati katushinga bali panamba shingo ko pa
I
Premier
was
League. So.
supporting my. I woke up this morning.
Hold on, hold on. Wait, everybody, just listen to PF version 4. They're about to rant. Go ahead, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Virtually, I look up this morning
Awen.
to
Ababadani
watch
ka. Now we say
Manchester
sometimes.
United.
Now we say
I even
sometimes.
I
Ukulusa.
even called, that's what I even called Eric. I
Mm,
gave him certain pointers eh,
mm, mm, mm,
before
mm.
they went on the pitch
Yes.
at Etihad. Oh,
Yes.
that one goal, I was on cloud nine. I was like, this is it.
Yes.
We lose with
Woo!
grace. Just like we
Oh,
age,
then.
just like we age with grace, we lose with grace.
Oh, my God. Eh?
Ngafo kumusafiri abane awe katwishoko mwalafika by the end of the season. Sishive. And there are bigger games coming ahead of you. So I feel sorry
I
for
don't,
you guys.
I don't know what part of what we are saying that Arsenal is not getting. We said we are rebranding. Well, that's what we said. You should let us finish rebranding and then say something.
How long are you going to rebrand? How long?
Right now you're not any different from Nakajinda.
Oh, no, 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 no,
Gunyu
no.
must,
Don't go
Gunyu
there.
Masaga.
Don't go there, deep thinker. Don't go there. You don't want to go and see your grandmother in Kasungura, do you? Don't go there. That's all we're going to say on that. But watch the big boys come out tomorrow. Watch it. It'll be a game and a half.
I know
That's all we're saying.
we when you win, we celebrate with you. When we win or lose, you call us Matuvi. Now, come on now.
You
Come on
just,
now. You are actually worse than ECL.
That one, no.
Yeah, I don't know who's worse, ECL or you. I don't know. I'm confused.
Well, I am just happy that you have acknowledged your name. Finally, I've been drumming on this wonderful name of yours, Matuvi United. It rhymes like a mature wine, like you said.
We like UPND. We lost so many elections. We never gave
Oh
up. We
my God!
rebranded
Oh
and
my
came
God!
back with vengeance.
All right, people, this is it. It's been BantuTV. All right, I'll give you each 30 seconds. Let's say our goodbyes. We meet again next Sunday, same time. Let's start with you, Mr. Danny, and then we go to the PS here, the Deep Thinker, Mr. Matcha, Match Mafia, in that order. Let's go.
I don't know if you've noticed that the Arsenal, they put themselves last, but that's all
Oh
right.
my God. Dog, are you there? Your final words for tonight. All right, we move on. Deep Thinker. Deep Thinker?
So
Oh, you see.
my piece is, I already said it. I said I'm looking forward to mature politics in Zambia where we don't politicize things that affect people, in a deep way, like the drought and you know pronouncing a natural disaster in the country. Some of the things we leave politics out. As far as Chirufya Tayari, he sided the government a little bit by saying some negative things about Lungu. Little did we know that he just wanted a way to escape to South Africa. Good luck, Tayari. Good luck.
All right. Mr. Matcha, please come in.
I wish Zambians peace, love, and happiness. The rantings that are coming from these political nobodies should not make UPND think they are doing nothing. UPND, you are just doing your best. Hats off to you all. Thank you.
Oh, great. Who did I leave? Mr. PS, please. Your last words for tonight, or this afternoon.
Okay. Well, what I can say is that this is a good platform, and in terms of what is happening, I think we need to maybe there's government needs to come up with a system of making sure that we deal with the civil service, depoliticizing the civil service.
Mm-hmm.
In as much as I know that there could be people that had quite worked a lot with the current government, but for instance, I do not think that the Tabo Kawana should ever be a permanent secretary. It should never happen. Pilato and Kangwa Chiresi, those should never be permanent secretaries. They have also part of the problem where you see when you talk about things not being put together, those are some of the things. We need to work around the civil service and make sure that the ones that work in the civil service are professionals, qualified, and with experience. Because at times the things start from there and it brings out a little bit of a problem. In as far as the political rants that you're talking about, ECL, whoever, Chufetayari, and things like that, the Zambian political system right now is a very difficult one because of where we have been coming from. We have not
Mm-hmm.
created systems and structures that make sure that it holds everybody accountable. Whether you are in government, where you are in past government, the accountability index must be raised for all. And that is what I see, because I don't see the accountability index on the current guys that are in government right now. And at times it is able to affect the right progression of government in terms of programming and in terms of unity of purpose, because those are some of the things that I would love to see and see that probably government works around those. I also love it that one of the things that I've told Danny and others, I say that UPND have a very good long-term strategy for the country, but they lack a short-term strategy. You do not have a short-term strategy, guys. I know I was in the PF, but I don't see a short-term strategy. The long-term strategy is excellent in terms of what has been lined up. If we can pull in that direction, all of us will see that the private sector can actually flourish. But the short-term strategy has the capacity to do the long-term strategy. So those things need to be looked at. So for now, that is what I can say.
Brilliant. Mr. Chufya. Right, Chufya. Where's my co-host?
Rachirufia.
Right, Chufya. Where's my co-host? Oh my God. Okay, I guess
typical of
Maybe he's working up some kinks in the background. Anyway, it's been wonderful. It's been real. Until we see you next. Oh, BantuTV, there he is.
Sorry, I had to deal with my son. So yeah,
Okay,
what were you talking? What were we saying?
we are winding up your final words
Okay.
for the evening.
Well, it's been nice. It's been a very interactive topic that we've had. Thank you for everybody who participated today and brought out brilliant ideas from Wachanda, Dani, Masher, Valentine, Bakalapa, everybody else that contributed. We hope to see you again next week. And with me, my final thoughts is, I think we really appreciate what the current government is doing, and the president is doing a good job. There's no Zambian that's actually complaining, to the extent that the opposition is trying to portray, to say the country has gone to the dogs. No, it hasn't. It's actually doing way much better. And with all the huge investments that's going to happen in the next coming few months, we'll see a change in how the kwacha will start dealing or fighting the dollar. And it will be very, very, very attractive for a lot of investors back home, internationally, and everywhere. So yeah, Vane, thank you very much. And yeah, that's all I can say for today.
All right. Just before we wind up, just one more comment from our listeners here. Let me just put this in because it's in tandem with what we were talking about earlier. Mr. Joseph C. Cosmas Kistulo, he goes, again, you want to bring Impele with your so-called yellow maize. Okay, we won't use that words on air. And not serious. Not Zambia. I guess he was answering to our good job on GMO. All right. So on that note, people keep the faith. We'll be back next week, sometime, someplace. It's been a BantuTV presentation. Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.